So today we're announcing the expansion of offshore oil and gas exploration, but in ways that balance the need to harness domestic energy resources and the need to protect America's natural resources.
Quintessential Barack Obama trying to have it both ways, but members of his own party already expressing some dissatisfaction with his announcement today.
And if you listen very, very carefully, somewhere Sarah Palin must be tweeting. Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABCNews.com's Top Line. I'm David Chalian.
And I'm Rick Klein.
Each weekday we're bringing you the very latest political headlines, reporting, insight, analysis, everything you need and want to know about politics.
And it's twitter.com/TheNote as we adjust to the different lighting, not on the White House lawn today, but still good to be here.
Get us started, sir. What is your top line?
Drill, baby, drill. The chants are still ringing in our ears, but Barack Obama today comes out in support of expanded offshore oil drilling, a major step and a significant reversal from policies that he talked about as a candidate. Intended as something of an olive branch, David, for Republicans trying to tax center as they craft a new energy policy. But the blowback has already been significant from a lot of folks on the left.
You said craft a new energy policy. That's the key here. This is the groundwork they're trying to lay to get some Republican buy-in down the road on cap and trade or some sort of energy plan that their own party would be happy with. You know, I already see Frank Lautenberg, Democratic senator from New Jersey, hitting the president on this, against it. This was a Mitch McConnell idea, apparently, at the White House to get started on this. So it is that kind of outreach. But again, it's groundwork to something that probably Republicans are not going to be so psyched to buy in on. Barbara Bush. Yes, we want to give you an update on the former First Lady and, of course, the mother of a president as well. Only Abigail Adams would know how to respond to Barbara Bush's role in our society. But the 84-year-old former First Lady is being released from a hospital in Houston, from Methodist Hospital. She apparently, where she's been since Saturday, going under a battery of tests, she had a mild relapse, according to the hospital statement, of her Graves' disease, which was diagnosed back in 1989, not related to her heart surgery last year, and they expect a complete recovery.
And their thoughts and prayers are with her. And we'll stay in Texas for number 3 today. It's staying put. Kay Bailey Hutchison has decided not to resign her Senate seat. After all, Republicans get to keep their 41st vote. You'll recall, David, that she made a pledge to resign her seat after the primary that she lost earlier this month. She said she'd resign regardless. Almost no one believed her, and now we're finding out exactly why. She's decided to stay in at least through this year and retain that seat in the Senate.
It's hilarious if you read the Rick Perry statement on this. Governor Rick Perry, who defeated her in that primary, put out a statement and said, "We need Kay Bailey Hutchison in Washington to keep the federal government from intruding on Texas."
Stay there.
Stay there. And final push. Yes, it's the last day of that key, critical first quarter of fundraising in an election year. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, we are going to see reports coming out from these key campaigns and candidates, Rick, that it will tell us a lot about what the 2010 landscape really looks like when we see who has the resources and which races will truly be competitive because of that.
And this shakes out so many primaries around the country where you don't know really who are serious candidates and who aren't. You know who's been picked and who people buzz about. But when you see the numbers after tonight's deadline, it does sort of winnow things.
And they're making a mad dash for the midnight deadline, all those candidates. We're going to begin actually with state races. We haven't focused much on this. We're joined by Michael Sargeant. He's the executive director of the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee. And I know everyone at home is receiving their census forms, and that ties in directly to what you guys are working on, because those census forms are critical in terms of apportionment of our representatives in Congress. And how are you guys tying the current census work into your legislative campaign strategy?
Well, a lot of people do not know that actually, the congressional lines, and as well as the state legislative lines in each of these, in 36 states throughout the country, are actually drawn by state legislators. And, with the census coming up, the reapportionment, deciding how many congressional seats every single state's going to have, the census is critical to deciding how many seats, how much representation each state's going to receive.
And then when you get down to drawing legislative lines, it's critical as well. And
yes,
you're going to be very involved in the campaigns this year. $20 million investment that you guys announced recently.
Yes.
Tell us where that money is going and what you're aiming to do with it.
Well, DLCC, we're the only Democratic Party committee whose role it is to win and guide state legislative campaigns for the Democratic Party. And, to give you a sense, Democrats now hold 60 of the 98 partisan chambers throughout the country. And, that is a large increase from the 41 that Democrats held after the 2002 election. So, we work directly with our campaign operations in, every single state, including the states that are most critical for redistricting, to put together the best winning plan and to win the seats that matter.
So you're going in and saying, okay, we've got a chance to either hold this legislative body or maybe flip
Yes.
this one, and,
Yes.
it means investing in individual races.
Yes, it does. And we work, both on a macro level, understanding what the landscape looks like as far as a state and a chamber, but also, district to district, neighborhood to neighborhood. And that's, that our program has helped us go from 41 to 60 over the last 7 years.
And of those 60, how many are very close and therefore vulnerable this election cycle? That really are sort of the battleground of chambers slipping away, or
there are a good amount. I mean, to give you a sense, there are 23 chambers nationally, including both parties, in 17 states that are within 5 seats of flipping. And so this election is an historic election that will decide, who has the pen who can draw the lines for congressional redistricting and legislative redistricting for the next decade. And for Democrats to have a real seat at the table for having a Democratic agenda for the next decade, Democrats need to win these state legislative races.
What is the message that you offer candidates and party committees that come to you in terms of making sure that is it a local message versus a national message? I mean, how do you differentiate? We know this is likely to be a bad year nationally for Democrats. Does it have to be a bad year locally for Democrats?
No, it doesn't. And I'm not sure it's going to be a bad year nationally for Democrats, but I will say this. I mean, we work directly with our candidates and our campaigns to help them put together the best campaign possible, district to district. And that race, could look different from one side of Ohio to the other side of Ohio. And that program has been has been successful. And these races are the closest to the ground. So the issues that matter the most on Main Street are the ones that our candidates talk about.
Is there one state in the union that you could point to as sort of the battleground that's going to get most of your attention this year?
That's a tough question. I will say, we're very concerned about, states like Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin.
Now, a lot of that, what you just described, which leads to my next question, matches up with where a lot of the critical congressional elections are going to take place as well. And I'm wondering, how much do you work together with your national counterparts, and how invested are your national counterparts, who have their own mission, obviously? They want to get their members of Congress reelected or their senators reelected. But how much do you guys match up and they support your mission here with the legislative seats?
They have their mission. We have our mission. We have ongoing conversations about strategy and so forth. But in the end, our program is to work directly with our legislators to put together the best campaign possible for them in their district. And sometimes, that message may dovetail with another race that's on the ballot, and sometimes it doesn't.
And how concerned are you about losing? I know you do legislative races, but there's a potential for Democrats to lose a number of governorships this year. That would have a pretty big impact on these efforts.
Absolutely, it would. At the same point, the lines, by and large, in these states are actually, arise. They're generated by the state legislatures. So, the governors are, play an important part, but, holding these legislative chambers is the utmost importance to actually, having a successful redistricting for Democrats.
And
sorry.
Go ahead, David.
So basically, I just want to get a sense, though. Years ago, do you remember Arnold Schwarzenegger pushed in California a nonpartisan commission that would do this? If all 50 states had nonpartisan commissions doing this, you'd be out of business, right?
No, not at all, not at all. Our committee's role is to win chambers for Democrats in the state legislature. And we're also involved in chambers that are commission states that, because in the end, it's about, winning elections for Democrats, allowing Democrats to actually, because they have better plans on education, health care, and jobs.
And if they do win, is there a particular redistricting strategy? Make sure that Democrats are protected?
Yes. And those plans are being formulated capital to capital, as well as in consultation with our organization.
Michael Sargeant, the Executive Director of the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee, thanks a lot for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.